For nearly a decade, Heughan and Caitríona Balfe have been the heartbeat of Outlander. As Jamie and Claire Fraser, they carried audiences through centuries of love, loss, and resilience. Their on-screen chemistry was so powerful, so magnetic, that fans across the globe refused to believe it was just acting. Year after year, interview after interview, both stars laughed off speculation, insisting they were nothing more than friends and colleagues. But now, whispers have become louder, and a secret long guarded in shadows has finally slipped into the light. The revelation is not the tawdry scandal tabloids might crave, but something more intimate, more complicated, the truth about a bond that went deeper than friendship yet never fully crossed into romance. Behind the scenes, away from the cameras, Sam and Caitríona built something profoundly personal. A secret, not of illicit affairs, but of emotional intimacy, late-night confessions, whispered encouragements, and the quiet recognition that, in the whirlwind of fame, they were each other's anchor. Insiders from the set described the early days of Outlander as a pressure cooker. Both stars were relative unknowns, suddenly thrust into global fame with the weight of a beloved book series on their shoulders. The stakes were enormous. If they failed to convince audiences of Jamie and Claire's love story, the entire show could collapse. Under those conditions, something unusual happened. Sam and Caitríona turned to each other, not just as co-stars, but as lifelines. They shared long nights over scripts, swapping fears and insecurities. They rehearsed emotional scenes until they blurred the line between character and self. They built a trust so strong that it became their unspoken secret weapon. Fans always sensed it. You could see it in the way Sam's hand lingered a moment too long on Caitríona's back during interviews, or in the way she laughed at his jokes before he'd even finished them. Their ease with one another felt lived in, earned, almost too natural to be crafted. When asked about it, Caitríona would smile and call Sam her greatest partner, while Sam often referred to her as my rock. To the outside world, these were safe, friendly words. But behind them lay a deeper truth, a reliance that went far beyond the call sheet. What made this bond so secretive, and so controversial, was its intensity. Caitríona was fiercely private about her personal life, eventually marrying Tony McGill in 2019. Sam, meanwhile, has always kept his relationships in the shadows, fueling endless speculation about who he might be seeing. But throughout all the rumors, one constant remained: Caitríona. No matter what headlines screamed, no matter what gossip swirled, she was always there beside him, on-screen and off, the one person he could trust in an industry built on illusions. The secret that's now emerging is not about betrayal, but about survival. Both actors privately admitted, in guarded ways during interviews and more candidly in their memoirs and panels, that the demands of Outlander often left them lonely and overwhelmed. The hours were long, the emotional toll heavy. There were nights when Sam confessed he felt crushed by the expectations of carrying Jamie Fraser on his shoulders. And in those moments, it was Caitríona who listened, who reassured him he was enough. Likewise, when Caitríona struggled with the pressure of embodying Claire, it was Sam who reminded her that she was not alone. To fans, this revelation is both shocking and strangely validating. It explains why their chemistry felt so authentic, because it wasn't just chemistry for the cameras. It was drawn from a real, private connection, a secret partnership that blurred the lines between fiction and reality. They weren't lovers in the traditional sense, but they were something equally powerful: each other's emotional confidants, sharing a bond that neither fame nor time could easily sever. The exposure of this secret has left fans stunned. Some feel betrayed, believing the actors should have been more open. Others are deeply moved, seeing in this revelation a more human story than any scandal could provide. Two people navigating extraordinary circumstances, clinging to each other to survive. It's messy, complicated, and profoundly human, and it changes the way audiences will look at Jamie and Claire forever. For Caitríona Balfe and Heughan, the secret has always been about more than romance. It has been about trust, loyalty, and the invisible threads that tie two people together when the world insists on pulling them apart. Now that it's exposed, the question is no longer whether their bond was real. The question is whether it could have remained hidden at all. The revelation of Sam Heughan and Caitríona Balfe's secret bond rippled through Hollywood and the Outlander fandom like an earthquake. What had long been whispered in corners of fan forums was suddenly out in the open. The connection between Jamie and Claire wasn't confined to the screen. For fans, the confirmation was electrifying and polarizing. On one side, supporters celebrated the honesty, claiming it validated everything they had felt for years. "We always knew it," one Twitter user wrote. "The way they looked at each other, the way the passion jumped off the screen, that was never just acting." Instagram comments flooded with messages praising their authenticity. "This makes me love Jamie and Claire even more," and "real chemistry always comes from real feelings." But not everyone reacted with joy. For some, Caitríona's revelation of the emotional bond raised difficult questions, particularly because she is married to Tony McGill. Critics accused her of blurring boundaries, of allowing herself to be swept too deeply into her on-screen partnership. "It's disrespectful to her husband," one comment read bluntly. Others argued that Sam was once again being framed as a man unable to separate his work from his private life, forever trapped in the persona of Jamie Fraser. The fandom fractured, with one half romanticizing the confession and the other half condemning it. The tabloids, predictably, chose chaos. Headlines screamed, "Secret exposed. Heughan and Balfe's off-screen passion." Magazines republished old photos of the pair laughing at award shows, standing too close on red carpets, or holding hands during press tours. Context didn't matter. Every touch, every smile, every shared glance was recast as evidence of something more. What Caitríona had described as trust and survival was twisted into scandal, a supposed affair disguised as friendship. The media frenzy didn't just stop at speculation about Sam and Caitríona. It spilled over into Liz Hurley and Billy Ray Cyrus, reigniting the buzz around Liz's connection to Sam. Tabloids delighted in weaving a narrative of a tangled web. Sam at the center, surrounded by two glamorous women and an American country legend. It was salacious, messy, and irresistible to editors. Yet beneath the noise, a subtler truth began to emerge, one that revealed not only the intensity of Sam and Caitríona's bond, but also the brutal cost of maintaining it. For years, the two actors had carried the burden of fan expectations. They weren't just playing characters, they were asked to embody an ideal. Fans wanted Jamie and Claire to exist in real life, to see in Sam and Caitríona the eternal romance they adored on screen. Living up to that fantasy was impossible, but resisting it came with its own dangers. In interviews, Caitríona has often spoken about how much trust she and Sam built over the years. She once described him as the one constant through a decade of chaos. Sam, in turn, has admitted that Caitríona is his anchor, the person who makes the grueling work bearable. When taken at face value, these comments are heartwarming. But in the fevered imagination of fans and tabloids, they are read as confessions, proof of a hidden love. The blurred lines between acting and reality are what make this revelation so combustible. In order to portray Jamie and Claire's epic romance, Sam and Caitríona had to tap into real emotions. They had to allow passion, intimacy, and vulnerability to pass between them. Once those emotions exist, even in fleeting moments, how do you keep them from bleeding into real life? Caitríona's secret suggests that sometimes you can't. Sometimes, what audiences see is not entirely scripted. The cost of this honesty is steep. Caitríona now faces invasive questions about her marriage, her loyalty, and her private choices. Sam is once again reduced to tabloid caricatures of the lonely romantic, a man whose every friendship with a woman becomes a presumed romance. Together, they are cast as co-conspirators in a drama they never truly authored, a drama born from the collision of truth, performance, and the public's hunger for fantasy. And yet, there is a certain power in the revelation. By acknowledging their secret, Sam and Caitríona reminded the world that actors are not machines. They don't simply flick on passion like a switch. They feel it, live it, and sometimes carry it with them long after the director calls cut. Their secret, now exposed, is not a scandal but a testament to the human cost of creating one of television's greatest love stories. As fans continue to debate and tabloids spin their webs, one truth endures. The bond between Sam Heughan and Caitríona Balfe was always real, always deeper than fans knew. Whether it was friendship, emotional intimacy, or something unnameable, it shaped Outlander into the phenomenon it became. And now that it's exposed, the world will never look at Jamie and Claire, or Sam and Caitríona, the same way again.